Miss Thompson up, I already said her family is a founding family of St. Nicholas Parish. And our parish was founded around 1887. A long time ago. And Miss Thompson loves butter pecan ice cream. So somebody better run to CVS and find me some butter pecan ice cream right now.
Good evening. I'm sure at one time or another you heard me say, I was raised in the church. I was raised in the church. Oh yeah, man, I was raised in the church. Well, I, Agnes Ann Green Thompson, was raised in the church. But not just any church. I was raised right here at St. Nicholas Catholic Church and St. Nicholas Catholic School that was just across the street. My parents were Henry T. Green Sr. and Louisiana Whitley Green. And they were charter members here at St. Nicholas Catholic Church. My mother was one of 5 sisters. Louisiana, and people laugh and say by the time they got to my mother, Louisiana, they must have run out of names, I guess. But my mom's name was Louisiana, and her siblings were Philomena, Medora, Albertina, and Anna. And they were all charter members here at St. Nicholas, and their families became charter members here, and some of the families are still members here. And let me also say that my mother's maiden name was Whitley, and all of the 5 girls were known around St. Nicholas as the Whitley girls. So I want to go through the branches of the Whitley girls. The Whitley Greens, which would be my family, we have the Greens, the Thompsons, the Roys, the Yorks, and the Domes. And from the Whitley McElroys, we had the McElroys, the Jacksons, Fuller, Jones, and Johnson. And from the Whitley Hopkins, we had the Hopkins, the Williams, the Pettaways, the Lewis, and the Owens. And if there are any members from those families here today, would you please stand? Stand. I see my Reed back there, the McElroys, the Owens over here. So we're still present from all the way back there until now. My siblings and I received all of our sacraments right here at St. Nicholas. And my sister Teresa and I were married here. My sister Teresa and her husband Willie were married here on June the 8th, 1955. And my husband Lewis and I were married here on February the 6th, 1960. And had the Lord not taken him 33 years ago from me, we would have celebrated our 66th wedding anniversary. During all of this time, St. Nicholas Catholic Church was staffed by the Josephite priests, and they were always very caring shepherds to all of us. My dad used to always like to talk about Father Shepherd and Father Flair. But let me tell you something you young people don't realize when you come to Mass now. Back then, the entire Mass was in Latin. So as I'm sure you've heard people say nowadays, English as a second language. Well, I guess you could say back then, for Catholics, Latin was the second language. But we made it through it all. And you know, I don't like getting up early in the mornings. I really don't. But back then, believe it or not, the first Mass here on Sunday mornings was at 5:30 a.m. And we all as children loved to come to 5:30 Mass. But you know why? Because after Mass, my mom and her sisters took turns going to each other's houses to have coffee and sweets. And that was a big thing for the children. Even getting up to 5:30 Mass. And I also remember many a days climbing those steps to the choir loft. And I would sit at the Hammond organ and play for many of the Masses and many weddings here. Those were the good old times. My siblings and I also attended St. Nicholas School right across the street. And we attended school there from the 1st grade to the 12th grade. And you know what? The school was staffed by the Holy Family Sisters. It was mentioned about the Holy Family nuns during the Mass today. I can remember some Sister Clotilde, Sister Eugenia, Sister Anselm, Sister Tekawita, Sister Teresa Vincent, and there were a set of twins, Sisters Canice and Canisius. And you know, back then, we didn't have all of the things that the youngsters today are so privileged having in the schools. They have everything, technology, everything, AI, all of that. We didn't have any of that. But you know what? Those Holy Family Sisters did a fantastic job. A fantastic job in preparing us for the future. And just with myself and my siblings, they prepared us for the future. My brother, Henry Jr., graduated from St. Nicholas High School in 1940. And after graduating in 1940, he attended and graduated from Prairie View and Texas Southern Universities. And his career in life was that he was a pharmacist. And at the time of his retirement, he was responsible for distribution of medications to all of the VA hospitals all over the United States. So you tell me the Holy Family Sisters didn't prepare us? Oh, yes, they did. Then we had my sister Teresa. She graduated in 1945. And after graduating, she went to and attended and received a degree from Tuskegee. It was Tuskegee Institute then, in Tuskegee, Alabama. And after that, she received her master's degree from Texas Southern University and was a teacher in HISD for 42 years. But I have to say this, that in that same class of 1945, there were two other young ladies who went to Tuskegee with my sister. The other lady was Imelda Collins Mabry. And the third one was the infamous Lucy McElroy Jackson. Then came to Agnes. I graduated in 1952. And after I graduated, I went to Xavier University and received in New Orleans, Louisiana. And later I received my bachelor's degree from Texas Southern University. And I also was a teacher in HISD for 42 years. But I have to say this, that the year after I graduated from Xavier and before I started teaching in HISD, I had the privilege to be a 5th grade teacher right across the street at St. Nicholas Catholic School. And last but not least, my brother Albert, who graduated from St. Nicholas in 1954. And he attended Xavier University also, receiving a degree and afterwards attending and graduating from Meharry Medical School. And he was a medical doctor. So you're telling me the sisters in the Holy Family back yonder, when we didn't even have a computer, you know they did a fantastic job. So now I am a member of St. Francis Xavier, right down the street, where the very Reverend Michael Thompson, a Josephite, is the pastor, and our deacon present here today is Reverend Mr. Michael Jenkins. And I just want to say thank you, St. Nicholas parishioners now. You are doing and have done a fantastic job. To you and to the whole entire St. Nicholas community, I say hats off to you and congratulations to all of you on this, the 101st anniversary of St. Nicholas Catholic Church.
Let's give it up for Miss Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. Let's clap her all the way to her seat. Those nuns. Well, if you didn't know about those nuns, now you know. They did it, didn't they? Okay. I took a lot from that historical rundown and family tree, but I'm going to save it for later because it looks like the next person might be just as winded because those nuns. So help me, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome Miss Dorothy Shea Lewis, a descendant from a founding family of the parish, a student of St. Nicholas School, and a historical, I would say artifact, but historical product.
Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure and certainly my privilege to have this opportunity to tell you what this place means to me. If I had to go back and reminisce with the hymn of "Take me back, dear Lord, to the place where I first believed," it would be St. Nicholas Catholic Church. It was so befitting today that we did the litany of the saints in the eulogy, because we are founded on the saints that hold up the wall St. Nicholas. And I would be remiss if I did not tell you who they are. First of all, let us say Saint Rita Dorsey, who gave us a little boy, Father Walter Dorsey. Floyd and Anita Roby, who gave us the Roby family that continues to worship here at St. Nicholas. The Owens family, Marie Lewis Owens, the Jacksons, Lucy Jackson, who was a descendant of the McElroys, Florida and Rushton Malvo, Warren and Ethel Shea, Elijah and Marie Southern. These are the saints that hold up the walls of the Church of St. Nicholas. And I was extremely fortunate to have these saints touch my life. And if we were to do the statistics upon the success of those who graduated from St. Nicholas, then you would know the ratio is astounding, because the success of our graduates from St. Nicholas School is astounding. So you are graced with the walls. You are graced with the walls of saints that live in the walls of this church, St. Nicholas.
I said, anyway,
the sisters of the Holy Family.
We'd like to have you calm down a bit and let Dorothy complete her speech. So we're asking you to be quiet and listen.
video.
The sisters of the Holy Family, of which Patricia Hardy, Sister Marie Benedict, Sister Timothy Lansman. The vocation is astounding at this church. Brother Joseph Laveau, and as I mentioned, Father Walter Dorsey. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you grace the halls in the presence, you are gracing not only the longevity, but you are gracing the halls of the saints that came before us, and their ancestors still continue to love and worship Almighty God in this place. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Let's clap her all the way to her seat. And now, this is a big one. This is a special one, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we'll have plenty of time to clean, okay? Let's settle down and have this celebration in a respectful way. There are people speaking, and we can't be going around picking trash while people are talking. So, this is a very special one to this parish. So, for those of us that the 11 o'clock community, and I even think, you know, our East African brothers, you know what it means to have a priest come from the family and or from the community. It's a big deal, okay? Where I come from, it's a big deal to have a priest come from a family or even from a parish. You know, I personally happen to be like in the midst of priests all the time. We just give God our sons, right, left, and center, our daughters and stuff like that. You know, but out here in America, it's kind of like here, far and few between, that you actually find a child that grew up in the parish, raised in the family, that parish, and then they become a priest. And this one took me a little bit by surprise. So, to tell his story, and I want to call his classmates because they are here, and school children. He went to school in St. Nicholas Parish. His family were members of St. Nicholas Parish. He became a priest. Oh my God. Help me welcome Father Walter Dorsey, all the way from Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Pope Pius. Pope Pius X or Pius XII? My brother Ed Herrera, please stand Ed Herrera, Deacon Ed Herrera, Edward Herrera. Edward is my classmate from St. Pius X High School. We graduated from the Dominican High School in 1969, and he's now a deacon at, where is it again? St. Rose of Lima. So good to see you. And also I'd like to introduce you to my brother Dennis Peters. Please stand up, Dennis. Dennis is a petroleum engineer, originally from Guyana. His brother served in Jamaica as a Catholic priest. And some years ago, when we had the war in Iraq, because he's a Rhodes Scholar and a petroleum engineer, he was sent by his firm to Fallujah to rebuild the petroleum industry in Iraq. Welcome, Dennis. So good to see you. And he is now, because he's Guyanese, he also helps out in Guyana, helping them with their new discovery of oil, helping them with their petroleum industry as well. Thank you very much. Just would like to, I preface that, but I want to move quickly over to my beloved brother, Raymond Bourgeois. Can you stand up, Raymond? Beautiful. And why I identify Raymond, now Raymond and I were very close friends as youngsters, Boy Scouts of America together under Clyde Jones, and Cub Scouts as well from Mrs. Curette as a Cub Scouts. And that was Troop 331 that met on Monday nights here at St. Nicholas High and Elementary School. I'm mentioning that because of the place, the important place that these persons and this wonderful body of Boy Scouts played in the formation of our boys and girls here at St. Nicholas. The Archbishop mentioned a little earlier the beautiful charism of St. Nicholas was welcoming. It was a very, and this is very true. As a little boy, the men who were the ushers here at St. Nicholas were the ones who welcomed us to church on a Sunday morning. At the front of the church, I remember Walter Hardy. Remember Walter Hardy? Where's Dorothy? And Mr. Jolivet, although he sang in the choir as well. Where is Philip? Is Philip here, Philip Jolivet? He was here earlier. Okay, he must have left then. Because obviously the Jolivets as well were part of that gang of boys, and later, girl, Amy, she was what we call in Jamaica, the wash belly. Do you use that expression in East Africa? Wash belly? The last child. She was the last child and the only girl for the Jolivet family. But I wanted to mention, when I mentioned Raymond, when Dorothy mentioned the other vocations besides myself here at St. Michael's. I was director of St. Michael's in Jamaica. It's a theological college, and I just can't seem to get it off my mind. But Raymond had several other brothers, Roland and Michael of blessed memory, and Raymond himself with Edward and Francis. As boys, these men took care of me. I worked with my dad at a service station on Reed Road in Asheville, and from a Saturday in the summertime, Monday to Saturday, I worked with my dad at the service station. On Sunday, I went to Mass, and then Raymond and I went to a movie, and Edward, right, Raymond? Edward came to pick us up. I went over to the Bourgeois' house, Mr. and Mrs. Bourgeois, and later in the evening, they took me home. This went on throughout high school. I was at Pius X, Raymond was at St. Thomas High School. I'm saying this because it expresses the formation intimacy that existed among us that was responsible for forming our faith in Catholic spirituality. Important. And that Eucharist that we receive every day, we're taken, blessed, broken, and given. That Eucharistic spirituality. And you'll see that rhythm throughout every aspect of our lives when we allow ourselves to be plugged into that. And so, along with, as Dorothy mentioned a little earlier, was Joseph Lebeau. Where's Dorothy? Joseph Lebeau, was he Brother Demetrius? Thank you. So Brother Demetrius was at St. Nicholas, wasn't he, Dorothy? Yes. And he went to the Josephites. We don't know, I don't know if he eventually left or what, but we hadn't heard much from him. But Demetrius, along with the various sisters, Sister Timothy, Lancelyn, Sister Benedict with the Lyman, I think, right, Teresa? Your aunt? And I think 3 others. Okay, just wanted to mention that as an aside. And something special about Saint Nicholas. We're breathing through both nostrils at Saint Nicholas. We are evangelizing our immediate surroundings, and we have sent men and women out, in my case, into another country to evangelize. So we're not just self-serving. After this many years, thanks be to God. And you know, there's something I've learned. We don't know definitely, unless we look through the baptismal register, if there is any other men from this church who have become priests in some other parts of the world. I remember Madeline Johnson used to be at the Chancery. Is she still there? Madeline Johnson sharing with me some time ago that Roger Caesar's uncle was a bishop in one of the islands, New Guinea. He was an SVD and an American, African-American, I presume. So we just pray that the spirit of evangelization continues to grow and thrive. Just going back a little bit, my grandmother, some of you may have known, Beulah Goody, G-O-O-D-I-E. Before she became Goody, she was P-E-T-E, and I think it's a variation of Petrie, P-I-T-R-E. She came to Jamaica, to Texas, Houston, from Karen Crow, Louisiana. We know Karen Crow? All right. And so she, with her sisters, Lillian, and I'm not sure, Miss Green, Miss Thompson mentioned a little earlier that one of her sisters was Roy. Well, my grandmother's sister was Mary Roy and Lillian Goody. Now, they were daughters of Agnes Felix, my great-grandmother, who lived on Pierce. Remember the word Pierce? And I'm told that St. Nicholas was there first and then moved here. So, and then my grandmother came to Houston from Karen Crow with her cousin Margaret. I don't know, Dorothy, if you might have known Margaret's surname, but I would get off the bus right here on Dowling Street for the 8:30 Mass on Sunday morning. Margaret was waiting for me. And from that bus stop, walking to St. Nicholas Church, Margaret, I call her Margaret, she's our cousin, but she was considerably older. And she would say to me as I walked, "You're going to be a wonderful priest one day." A vocation is not accidental. A vocation is nourished. It's nourished. And I don't know, my memory of myself is that I was a pretty bad little boy. Yes. And somehow, whether she saw or inspired by the Spirit of God, she placed that message in my head and in my heart every Sunday. And thanks to Sister Michael Marie, who taught us in the 8th grade, Sister Michael Marie continued at the age of 13, reminding me, "You're going to be a wonderful priest." And I don't know how they knew that I wanted to become a priest, other than as an altar server serving every morning. But there were people around me who nourished the life of ministry. And I have to mention my dad, the place of my father, whom most of you have never met. Although the Henry Jolivet and the twins knew my dad because we had the service station on the corner of Reed Road and Asheville. My father was Baptist, and he hated the Catholic Church. But God was amazing. Every week in my dad's service station, my dad taught me how to be patient with our customers. How to be gentle with our customers. The customer is always right. And our business thrived. So from the heart of my father, I learned pastoral care. My mother gave me the Catholic element. My dad and his brothers and uncles were Baptist ministers in Opelousas, Louisiana. Thank you. So Karen Crow on one side, Opelousas on the other. And you know what? I believe, some of you may have the expertise to correct me. I think there is, people used to ask me in Jamaica, do you have any Jamaican parents? I say no. So why are you here and you have no Jamaican connection? I said, I don't know. I was born in Houston and God took me home to Jamaica because I found in Jamaica so much that is similar to what we're doing here. And you know what one of those things is? The Haitian community. I'm told that people from Haiti went to southern Louisiana. And this is what my connection was in Jamaica, that Creole accent among the Jamaican people. I immediately felt an affinity to the Jamaican people, and I could not figure out why am I staying in Jamaica, because I obviously have some West Indian connections, possibly through Haiti. But sisters and brothers, the core of what I want to share with you from all of this is that there are men and women, as a lovely song, we've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord. Relationships. And one of the wonderful gifts that I think the East African community and Nigeria and Ghana are offering us in this part of the world is teaching us to recover the communal features of our lives, because we've become so individualistic. And they've been able to maintain that connectedness to each other, which we have to recover, so that we can begin to produce once again, the type of vocations that will transform the world. So we're done. I'm done. Where's my MC?
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father Walter.